Hello, everyone. Welcome to Nerds Order Music. I am Metal Mayhem, and today joining me is Revile. How you guys doing today?
Good, good.
Doing great, man. Thanks for having us.
Anytime, anytime. So, tell me about yourselves.
Sure.
I'm David. I yell and scream and, blow my voice out.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, my name is Nicholas, and then I'm lead guitar, and I do the writing and right now production for the band.
Nice, nice. How'd you all meet? Like, how'd the band form?
Well, I've known him for years.
Yeah.
We actually started a project long ago together, and over the years, we've just been kind of our go-tos in terms of like working together. And I don't know, we just got the right people for the right projects, and so far it's been going really good.
Yeah.
What made you guys think of the band name? Just out of curiosity.
It was actually you and Austin, wasn't it?
Yeah. So it was actually me and our bassist Austin, and it was kind of a funny story because we were actually in the process of writing probably out of the 5 songs that are coming out on the EP that we have coming out. And we were sitting there trying to think of just the heaviest names we could. We were like, we want to write these heavy songs. We have to have something that matches. I think we went through the idea of like 8 Ball at one point.
Yeah,
and like having a little character, but we were looking at different terms, and we came up with like this idea of rueful mistakes at one point, and I don't know, we were just kind of putting new layers together, and then we made sure that no one else had the name, and we thought Revile sounded pretty hard, so it ended up being Revile. It was weird. It just kind of fell into place, I guess.
Yeah.
Honestly, I love the name. I think it really does suit your type of music.
Awesome.
So I think it was a really good choice to go with that.
Oh, I appreciate it. I wish there was a cooler story behind the name now.
Yeah, we were just brainstorming and it just came to be.
Yeah.
Hey, sometimes that's how it happens. Just simple brainstorming.
Pretty much.
Gotta start somewhere.
Hey, absolutely. Yeah.
So what is your average songwriting process like for you guys?
Average, I would say Nick or Austin pretty much comes with, the backbone to all of it. Somewhere along the lines, I'll just start coming up with melodies or like certain lyrics that, pop in my head. And at that point, it's just a real back and forth process. It's very fluid, very natural. Obviously, we got a couple more members in the band. We have a rhythm guitarist and a drummer now. So we're definitely trying to incorporate them and, everything that's going on in terms of writing, just, having different vibes, different elements.
Yeah.
And, just change up the formula.
Yeah.
I love that. It's great when like the whole group like comes together to make an idea. That's like one of the best parts of being in a band, I would imagine.
Oh yeah, totally. And the other thing too, it's funny being in a band. For every 5 or 6 songs that end up being put out, there's like 30 or 70 different riffs that are just scrapped. But that's kind of also the beauty of having a bunch of instrumentalists who just kind of like writing riffs, and we like to make it at least an environment where no one feels they can't bring an idea to the table. We definitely don't want to ever put a box in our songwriting. Sometimes it doesn't make it, sometimes it does, but I think having that blender, especially like what David was saying with the newest members, adds like a really good mixture of the best of every quality from each member. So if that makes a little sense. Yeah.
Oh, it does, and I think that's wonderful. Like being able for everyone to contribute in their own way, it's just amazing. Because some groups, they just have their own idea, and not everyone can put in what they want to. It's good having a group where everyone can throw in random ideas and see what works best.
No, yeah. Obviously we kind of got our first EP, pretty much done, wrapped up at this point. It's going to be coming out here very soon. But we're already brainstorming and writing stuff for our next release. And it's one of those things where we're just like, you know what? Let's just throw everything at the wall. Everything may not stick, but you know what? At least we're trying it.
How can we outdo ourselves?
Literally, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's amazing. Honestly, the best thing to do is keep trying until you succeed. And so far, you guys are having that down from what I've seen.
Oh, thanks, man.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm always excited to hear new music. That's why I listen to as much as I do. And hearing groups like yours is just amazing. It's like you guys are just starting out, and so far from what I've heard, I see a lot of potential.
Holy shit, man! Thank
you. Yeah, it means a lot to me from my end, his end, and every member in the band.
I grew up with metal, so I've always loved the genre, and I've always studied all the music because each song to me has a lesson that can be learned.
Mhm.
That's why I go to metal above all other genres,
Absolutely.
because you can relate to it on a very like heavy level, if you will.
It's just raw emotion into the universal music of sound,
That's why I
or
love it.
universal language of sound. I'm sorry. Yeah.
That's a pretty good way to put it.
Well, yeah,
That's
yeah.
that's the perfect way to put it. Actually, I love it.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. It's like
Yeah.
just the emotion flows into the music.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And like especially people who have depression and they hear stuff like that, it's like they know they're not alone. Like, they
Yeah,
know there's always people who go through the similar stuff.
yeah,
It's actually a
yeah.
big reason why I turned to metal was because it always got me through like hard times and stuff.
Oh
Well,
yeah, definitely.
I think I can speak for both of us when that's the same reason we turned to metal, man.
Oh
The
yeah,
reason why a lot of people do.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, personally, I'm all over the board when it comes to music and genres and everything.
Oh,
And
yeah.
everything always, it has its place in my life and,
Mhm.
in terms of what I go through. But at the same time, like, there's a reason why the genre of metal has always stuck with you. It's just stuck with
Yeah.
me personally, just because it's, it's raw, it's aggressive. It has a lot to say about, those darker, deeper, feelings and thoughts that we may have.
Unspoken tendencies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great way to put it, actually. The unspoken tendencies. That's probably the best way to put it when you really think about it.
Yeah.
What else? Just trying to think of stuff right now.
No,
Yeah.
you're good, man. Sometimes the best conversations just flow too.
Exactly.
Honestly, what is like your biggest inspiration for this genre? Like, what got you really into this?
Ooh, I thought you might ask this question. I was kind of anticipating this answer. I would love for you to start this.
My biggest inspiration, is that the question?
Yep,
Um, I would say it's just going to shows, it's going to see bands live. Whether I'm hugely into them or not, it's just I love the atmosphere. I love the vibe. I love just, this isn't my first band, so I've been on stage and I've gotten to see like the way the crowd reacts to you and, just seeing all the fun everyone's having both on and off stage. It's very intoxicating, you know? So that's definitely one of those big inspirations for me of just like, okay, I've seen some really cool bands, technical or not. I've seen some really heavy bands. And it's always one of those things where I just like, I'm looking for this thing that I want to, I just want to vibe really well with it. And, fortunately enough, you and Austin brought me to the table. They're like, hey, we're looking for a vocalist. And I'm just like, this is right up my alley. I need to bring it hard for, these demos that you guys were writing.
Yeah.
But I guess in terms of influences, if you're asking about bands, I'm not really sure. It's just a lot of bands that, we grew up, or I grew up with. And a lot of bands that are going on now. I can't really put a name on the bands, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, totally. And to just follow up on what he said too. Yeah. I mean, it's a weird culmination of like just growing up on the OGs. I mean, I was really big into Slayer and Metallica and kind of the originals everyone was. I absolutely adore some of those thrash riffs. And then I went into my high school phase, and of course Asking and Rise Records blew up, and we all went through our Memphis Mayfire kind of peeps. And it's funny too, the band, we were in a band, like way back in 2014, 2015.
Yeah, 2015.
Yeah, 2015. And that was primarily metalcore, and we absolutely adored that band. It did a really good run. And then I actually did a couple other projects as well as him. And we didn't join kind of forces again until, 5 or 6 years later. And it was just this random kind of occurrence of, me meeting up with our bassist Austin. And we just kind of had a lot going on in our lives personally. And originally, it's funny too, it wasn't even supposed to be really a band. It was just, we had a bunch of personal things going on in our lives, which kind of goes back to what we were talking about with, how metal really works for people like us. We had a lot of things we were angry about. We really didn't know how to talk or express it. So we're like, hey, let's just write some really angry songs. And, Frozen was the first one, and then Bloodshot came second. And it turned into this outlet where we started reaching out to even our closest homies, and we started writing with them, and it kind of became this natural fluidity. So thankfully we all kind of grew up on the same influences too, but I think it's just also we have the same ambition. We've all worked with other people, and for some reason, you know, this unit we have just works.
Yeah, the chemistry is very much there with each other, you know.
Yeah.
We know how to work with each other, we know how to criticize each other, we know how to, you know, grow as a unit together, and so far it's working wonders.
Yeah, it's working pretty well.
That's amazing. And honestly, what you said earlier about being in the vibe and going to different metal concerts and stuff like that, I feel that because I used to go to Warped Tour all the time for like a while. Actually, I have a big signage in my office about from the last tour. But
Yeah,
honestly, like I always felt at home at those festivals. You could just like be yourself, do whatever the hell you felt like, and it was just really good. Like I totally get that environment that you're speaking of, and it just feels like home to a lot of people.
yeah.
No,
I
yeah,
do get that.
a place where, you know, the misfits, the you know, the downtrodden, you know, they could just come and feel like they're in their own vibe, you know. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the best part about this kind of music. Like whatever, no matter it is, punk, metal, it all has the same kind of vibe. You can just be yourself and let loose.
Exactly. And what you said too about like feeling at home, I think that that's literally a perfect way to put it. That goes back to, you know, writing the songs, attending the shows. Like that's the reason why we're all in this genre, you know. It's just what we connect with most, you know.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Whenever you find something amazing to truly connect with, it just sticks with you. And when you find people who enjoy just as much as you do, stuff like this is made. Like
Yeah.
groups and bands can form over just a general bond of music.
Yeah.
And things like that just fall into place even when you don't expect it to. One day you're just hanging out with your friends, next day you make a band like you never expected. It just sort of falls into place on its own.
100%.
I mean, that's basically how I met him. I just attended a local show.
Yeah.
You know, ran into some friends of friends, and you know, they were just like, "Oh, you're a vocalist. Let me introduce you to, you know, another friend of mine, Nick." And I was just like, "Oh," we just kind of hit it off right after that. We were just like, "Oh, you're gonna be my best friend."
Yeah.
That's how it works. I have a friend who is like really into music like I am. We bonded over Slayer, Metallica, Ozzy Osbourne, Queens of the Stone Age. We just bonded immediately. He's actually the one I run this page with. There's two of us right now. I do all the music stuff. He does all the comic related stuff.
Okay.
Nice.
And honestly, like just that general, like the general bond of music can really bring people together, which is why I love the genre. Again, it's like there's a lot of aspects to it that people don't that people oversee,
Yeah.
and it's always like just left forgotten. I'm like, are you serious? Come on! Like,
Yeah.
I've gotten so many people into metal who thought they thought they'd never hear it. They thought it was so bad, and I'm like, listen to this, and they just fell in love with it. Actually, one of those friends I showed your new track to, Bloodshot, and he was like, holy crap, this is amazing.
Oh, dude.
Aw, thank you.
Wow. Yeah.
He never listened to metal in his life.
Oh,
And that was
man.
his first track, and he just loved it.
Wow.
Oh, holy shit.
Yeah, that means a fuck
Yeah.
ton. Yeah. Thank you.
Of course. Now, what is the biggest piece of advice you ever received while being in this industry?
Ooh,
Wow.
that's
that's
a good question.
That is a big one.
Do you want to start?
Yeah. Let give me 3 seconds to like think of an adequate answer here. Well, I'm trying to think of what would be helpful for your viewers too. I think that I think there'd be two. I think one is never overpromise and underdeliver. And then two, never go in trying to sound like somebody else. If you have a certain genre or vibe or inspiration, like I think, you know, that's almost 100% what you need to build on, because you need to go in either starting your own niche or relatively, you know, applying to another one. But yeah, I think that the best music is written from raw emotion and raw experience, and you know, kind of channeling those inner emotions, even if it's hard to, for like 5 or 6 minutes, 10 minutes even. You're gonna put out something that you're gonna sit back a day or two later and be like, wow, like that came out of me, and that you know, and this sounds good. So I would just say, you know, yeah, never try to go in sounding like someone else. Always approach it from just your own inner feelings, and then never overpromise and underdeliver.
I like that. Really hits hard.
Yeah, that's some good advice.
Oh,
I'd
well,
say,
thank you, man.
of course. I'd say the best piece of advice, and it may be a little cliched, but it's definitely of like, don't be afraid to take risks, because you never know what'll come out well or what won't be, you know.
That's a big one too. Yeah.
You know, you may hate the idea, you may hate, you know, the way it's been executed, but you know, as long as you try it, and as long as it comes out the way it was intended to, I think that's all that really matters.
Absolutely.
I really do agree with that because I know a lot of people who act the same way when it comes to that. Like, there's one guy I spoke to a little while ago who was the same way. He always told me, like, take risks when it comes to making music and just go with the flow and always be original. And I've
Yeah.
heard a lot of his tracks before, and they were wonderful. He always puts his heart and soul into his music. It's like some of the best music comes from like the heart and sometimes makes you just tear up. There have been a few songs that made me cry to this day in the metal genre, and
Oh yeah.
it's hard to forget that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah. No, common experience for
Yeah.
us too, man.
I love how metal always brings people together. I think it's amazing.
Oh yeah, the communities it builds too, man. Even
Yeah.
you know, you have your local scenes, you have your branches, and then you have your labels, and it seems like, you know, you look at especially pop and radio. You know, you look at Hollywood too. You have, you know, Capitol Records, the really big wigs, and there's a huge separation between even the artists and labels. But with metal, it almost feels like, and you know, correct me if I'm wrong too, but it almost feels like labels are as connected with locals, as connected with, you know, who is supporting locals or even local bloggers or local promoters.
Mhm.
And I think that's one big thing I really love about the metal scene too, you know.
Is the fact that it's so small is what keeps it very connected.
Yeah,
You know, it's
yeah.
what keeps us having to, you know, lean on each other and rely on each other. You know, no one's too big or no one's too small to work with somebody else. It's definitely one of those situations where it's like, oh, someone did your favorite band's artwork. Well, guess what? They're definitely within contact range.
Yeah.
Hmm. Just like in my case, I heard some really good new music. I wanted to talk to the band, and here I am.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah, man.
amazing. Like this, I feel like the smaller the community, like what you said before, it's a lot easier to get in touch with the artists, which I find amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it
Yeah.
makes things like this a lot more accessible and possible,
Yeah.
which is
And
what I've been aiming for.
yeah, I mean, we owe you thanks too, man. This is our first interview, so
Hey, don't worry about it. Honestly, metal has saved my life more times than I can count. I wanted to give back to the community, so I made this page.
that's awesome, man.
That's kind of you, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, no problem.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, this is like a dream come true for me. Being able
That's
to talk to multiple bands, it's just been amazing.
yeah. I think both of us too, we were definitely peeping on your content before the interview as well. And like you're just what you're doing, just what you're saying, giving back to the community and your whole goal behind it, I think is fantastic.
Thank you very
Happy
much.
to be a part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, man, you give good interviews. It's not like MTV wants to know what your latest update is for the new record. It's very much it's a conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I try to connect with the bands I speak with, just make it like a normal conversation.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it a lot easier to talk with the group, and it also makes up for a better environment when you do so.
Yeah.
That's why I aim for just normal conversation. It makes the process a lot easier.
100%.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Right. I think this went really well, but I have one more question.
Yeah.
What are your plans for the future? Like, what's next for Revile?
You want to start or?
Sure. Well, I think, you know, David definitely mentioned earlier too, we already started work on the next release. That's still kind of TBD when that's coming out, but we're definitely, you know, sticking on the original grind with what we've done with this first EP that's coming out, and we want to consistently keep pushing out material too. So I think that's our main goal is, you know, we want to keep writing, keep producing more material. We definitely want to engage more with people and have a pretty broad reach in who we're reaching with this Tracer EP. You know, we want to have at least enough DIY marketing to get an okay reach. But definitely putting a lot of work into this next release and kind of seeing where it goes there. Yeah.
In terms of the near future, we have a new single coming out.
Oh,
February 9th, is it?
yeah,
February 9th.
Mhm.
And then very
Live
short.
on, oh, sorry.
Oh yeah, go.
Live on Slam Worldwide, February 9th, exclusively. It's live on Slam Worldwide. So,
And then very shortly after that, we have a pretty decent surprise for everyone who's following us and everyone who's taken the time to show our little project the size of interest.
yeah.
So yeah, just keep your eyes out for that.
Oh, I definitely will. I'm excited. I cannot wait to see it.
Yeah, we're pretty hyped for this release. We're, you know, with the past 2 songs, you know, you listen to it and you're like, oh, this is cool. I dig it. I've heard some songs similar-ish to it. Nothing like this next single. No.
It's gonna be great. I'm really pumped for that.
Cool, man.
Thank you so much for your time. This really means a lot.
Yeah, thank you again for having us.
Of course, anytime. This has been Nerds Order Music. See you all next time.
With the ring is a combined eye, the wolf is strong to go.